belly of the beast and learning how the Constitution and how policy is created that is not the most beneficial for people who look like me and us.
Hey y'all, thank you for joining RVPP Solutions, a holistic health advocacy firm. You are on the YouTube page, and we are doing what? Having conversation starters. Um, if you are tuned in for Meditation Monday, then you already know what we're talking about. We're talking about what? American culture. And let's look at the cult part of culture. Um, yeah, so one part of the American culture I wanted to dissect, I guess, or pick apart was the tendency for Americans to give the okay that the black woman's body is available for abuse. And unfortunately, a lot of this green light has currently, I'll say for the last 5 decades, been at the approval of melanated beings in America. Which the foundation, let's start it off cool. Before we get deep in the conversation, because you know I will digress. Let's talk about the little bit of organization around it. Let's talk about the business part of it. I just want y'all as community members. Can you please like and subscribe to this page? I hope y'all look back on this stuff and be like, ooh, cringe, but I probably will. That's life. Yeah, so like, subscribe, go over to IG, Oya Myra, hit that follow button, following into the content, and most importantly, please engage with the content. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your commentary. I want to hear your thoughts, your opinions. Do you think that this is going in the right direction, or do you don't think it? You don't give a fuck. Don't be honest. I just want you to think, okay? And I want us to exercise the ability to independently think. So everything I say here, once again, if you heard me say it before, it's not the gospel truth. Okay? What it is the things that are going on in my mind and the things that interest me and the things that I feel like we need to be addressing in our society. It's a lot. Okay, back to the foundation of cult like behavior of the social acceptance of black women going through extreme harm in order to satisfy what the racial caste system has created. The American racial caste system. Now, if anybody knows anything about caste system, the group of humans who normally get the most recognition for their caste system are Indian people. In India, not the miscategorization of those who are indigenous to the land of the Americas, but the actual people who reside in the nation of India. So they have a official recognized caste system, and it's the most I won't say yeah, it's about the most world known of example of a caste system. Although there is multiple examples that we can utilize, but right now I wanted to focus on the American racial caste system and why when we continue to fall into racial identities of a toxic social construct, because most of the stuff is social construct, because that's what we do. We have pulled these things out of our imagination, and that's what life is. We determine by a social contract, meaning the community members. Some people by voluntarily, some people by force. People who are melanated in America, who have had a couple of who were either original to this land or were forced into captivity, has taken on this American racial caste system by force. And now, when we can exercise the ability to detach from it, the indoctrination is so strong that people think that this is just the norm and that we should just be comfortable with. But as a black, indigenous, African, melanated being, whichever one of those categories help you compute how I'm showing up, I can't do that because it's dangerous to my existence. So I will rebel. And I'm hoping to plant seeds of rebellion as you hear what I'm speaking. Okay? So let's start with the foundation. So what do I mean about cult like mentality? What I'm saying is there is obsession or excessive admiration satisfy the social norms by harming melanated beings through the vessel of the black woman. And that starts with that U.S. Constitution, right? The three-fifth compromise was the point in which the parties who were um, the powers of authority in that moment, because there were a group of people, several people in this country who were under captivity, right? So I never want you to think that the U.S. Constitution was a legal document applicable to everyone who resided in this geographical land, because that's not true. There were treaties with the people indigenous of this land that were in direct confliction with the U.S. Constitution. The mere presence of those people who reside in a continent of Africa, what is now known as Africa, um, were brought here through terrorism, were raped, were brutalized to get to this state. That doctrine, and there's so many different Hawaii, U.S. Constitution does not is not applicable at all to it. It was annexing. It was not legally captured. You know, international humanitarian law will teach you a lot about that. But y'all know that's why we're here. We're gonna break this down. So that Constitution, the compromise, and that awful clause was a point at which most of the white men who had access to material wealth decided that with the three-fifth compromise, if they're going to talk about the Declaration of Independence, if they're going to talk about humans, then they're morally they were at risk because they had a group of humans who which they enslaved. So, for the sake of preserving a capitalist goal of those who call themselves slave owners, they only took what we have now as the Constitution, the original document 1776, the terms of agreement of that, if those who didn't have ownership of another human being through terrorism would compromise and see those human beings as three-fifths of a person. Let's stop right here. Pause. Because so often in American history or her story classes, there is this notion that white people took away black people's humanity. That's not true. What happened is those of European descent who had access to capital, monetary compensation, and other material gains by the enslavement and the kidnapping and the capturing of another human being through terrorism, in those moments took it upon themselves to not see another human being. That declaration that we weren't humans is bullshit. We have always been humans. And we have to go deep into our psyche to eradicate that thought that another human being ever had the capability to take away what it means to be human from us. Ever had the capability. What they had was successful tools of war. That's it. That's it. An exercise of control through brutal force, brutal rape, and a dehumanizing not only of another human being of highly melanation, but dehumanizing of themselves. Okay? So that's the foundation on which we're growing this conversation of understanding the cult like mentality of what we consider to be American culture and its engagement with highly melanated beings in this country. And it has a global impact. But I feel like the global impact would make this conversation length, more lengthy, lengthier. Lengthier. Is that a word? We'll find out. I'll look it up. um, we'll take this conversation um, more. And what I'm trying to do is put certain things in common language because the trickery thing with American law is there's a bunch of words that get thrown at you to throw you off the essence or the points, to throw you off what is really happening. And I want to expose, teach, engage, converse with other people to how to make the conversation into a language in which we all can understand. Common language. I want to go through each step by step what this case meant, what is happening on a societal level, and what we're agreeing to. That's where you start in the roots. And the roots is American culture is sick. It's sick. And the disease started way before the compromise, but was definitely solidified with that compromise. So it's not just highly melanated beings. Because when you say someone of African descent is 3/5 of a person, that also means the people who were already here. So when we have these fruitless arguments about how different highly melanated people show up, whether they're indigenous to this land, where they are from the continent of Africa, whether they are Hebrew Israelites, whether they are Muslim, whether they are Christian. At the end of the day, the essence of the human creation is through melanation. We all of that. Everyone is a melanated being. Yes, even those who identify as whites. We also have to kind of go against the grain of this color identification. Because I stand in front of you and I identify as a black American woman, but I'm of complexion of brown. I'm a complexion of brown. It does not mean I reject my uh my lineage of being connected to this land and to the people who were here before the appearance of European settlers, for those who were melanated beings. That's just biology. And we keep ignoring what is in front of us to maintain a toxic cult like behavior of racial identification. And it's because that racial identification, per the American caste system, tells you who can be abused and who the amount of abuse that can be administered and how a person can be abused. Because full disclosure, I do not think those who are without high melanation do not experience abuse. In fact, I think they experience the same amount of abuse. I just think it gets overlooked because there's a certain image that has to be preserved about racial identification in America. So I'm going to pinpoint at this mark because we're at 16 and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So at the 16 mark, I'm going to talk about cult-like behavior of the racial caste system and the indoctrination of that, and how Black Americans are kind of falling back into the pitfalls of giving it a green flag now. No, it's the illusion that something may happen to us. It's the illusion that they are in control. Who the fuck is they? And when we're talking about they, can we just say white people? They're not Lord Baltimore. They're not who shall not be named. Say it. so you can take away the power of it. The cult-like behavior I see, is sneaking back, trying to sneak back into our psyche, is the pop culture of what a black woman's experience is in this world when she lives in America. Like for real, a remake of The Color Purple. Be for real. Be for real. The Color Purple. That is literally the origin story. Is about if I'm not mistaken, I don't know. I think she was either molested at the age of 10 or between the ages of 10 and 13. That's the origin story. That this beautiful, highly melanated young lady, girl, girl, child, was molested by the person who was supposed to be her father. I think her mother passed away. See, I'm trying to eradicate this shit out of my head. I don't even want to know the storyline. All I do know is the origin of the story is rape and molestation of a black girl child. So there ain't nothing I need to see about a remake. The first one by Alex Walker was a social awareness piece. It was her giving a voice to the voiceless. After they made a major motion picture out of it, I don't see what's the point of doing another one. And it's like, well, it's giving black actors, black actresses and actors the opportunity to, well, you know what? At this point, you need to be creating your own shit. Because now it seems like we have a love affair with the traumatizing of black girls and black women. There's a love affair. The Color Purple, beautiful. Um, if you notice, another thing that I dissect, because when the great Tina Turner transitioned into her next journey, it took me a minute to accept it, right? Because she has been for so long the imagery for black women to overcome abuse. Like she kicked ass from the idea of we had to not snitch on black men administrated the most and worst type of physical pain onto our bodies, type of mental invasion, spiritual abuse, and how her story, as much redemption as she came over, and I'm looking because I gotta be real about it, that in Black American culture, we took that as a not only what not to do, but some people took that as it's like it's okay, long as the abuse is okay. The transforming of a black woman to what could be perceived as respectable politics, right? Because you gotta wear a wig in order to be sensual and sexy and happy and pretty, attractive. This is where the seeds of desirability and rejecting our natural forms were forming. In the 60s and the 70s is what we're still experiencing that shit. And we're coming out of it, obviously. And we still have to be truthful. You know, I hear a lot of black men say, oh, I love your natural hair, but it don't feel like you love my natural hair. It feel like you running game, brother. Because if you're constantly making commentary to use your social capital to influence my decisions to be aesthetically pleasing to you, and what is aesthetically pleasing to you ain't what I came out the womb looking like, then that means that's some self-reflection you gotta do. I don't have to change shit. I show up as I show up, you know? But it is stories like Tina Turner that taught the black woman to fall back a little bit too slow, in my opinion. but also taught us a lot of nasty habits in order to survive that we need to come up under. Come under. Wig play it's beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. I think dress up is beautiful, but you have to at some point face your escapism. What are you escaping from? Are you doing this for enjoyment, or are you doing this because you feel like you need to be protected? Because the vessel in which you showed up, the society that you've been born in, says it's okay to abuse you if you look like this. That certain groups of people can do that, you can't do that. So, no. Things like I've never watched it. The Shy, had no interest in it because everybody kept telling me that this is what, yeah, it's really like Chicago, and I'm like, whoa, I've seen advertisements for that. Is that something you really want to manifest for the society in which you live in? Rape, murder, toxic drug trafficking? Why is there no shows that shows black innovators um, creating a method to decriminalize drugs? Since we are some of what everybody feeling now, that's just how karma works. It's being real innovative about decriminalizing drugs and creating spaces in which people who have issues with drug usage to do it in a healthy way. You can't stop them, but it doesn't have to be drug usage and crime. They're tied to each other when you over criminalize drug use. Humans have been using drugs way before Europeans decided to make a criminal justice system. So, getting back to that essence of that. What else is a cult like thing that we do as Black Americans that's toxic for us? The identity of toxic capitalism. See, me, the first time I read Karl Marx, I was in love. I didn't know the concept of what communism was. I didn't know the concept of socialism. All I did was read uh, a snippet of his idea about creativity and mankind, humanity. I don't like saying mankind because they all come from women, so womankind. But whatever. Let's not get into semantics. That's ego speaking. But his perspective that the reason that there was so much um pain in society is because through the industrial age, the human being lost touch with their natural ability to create and innovate. Our natural ability to create and innovate was blindsided or snuffled by the industrial age because here comes these big factories mass producing the same shit over and over again, right? You see that in the fashion industry. You see that people wearing a particular thing and using someone else's idea instead of doing what naturally gravitates to them. Um, and what he was explaining is when you don't have that outlet to create, you destroy in the most toxic way because destruction is not always harmful. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Destroy these fucking seeds of self hatred, these seeds of hatred for another simply because of their the amount of melanation they have in their body, highly or not, right? Um, so I really like Karl Marx's work, and I am not I am not against any ideology that has a balance of sharing of goods for all. Unfortunately, there have been many humans who have took ideas about capitalism and communism and socialism and act as cult leaders and took advantage of people who simply just wanted an easier life. Because capitalism is hard. It is. Living a capitalistic lifestyle is hard because it's always dog eat dog. It's always someone having to eat your shit in order for you to stand up. And it's like this idea of what success looks like. What we could do is have a quasi system of capitalism and socialism to satisfy a lot of people's egos, but that determines a lot of healing to happen. If you always look at people who are receiving, and I hate to say government assistance because they're not receiving government assistance. Government is not assisting them. Let's make that clear. The government is providing the provisions in which it's supposed to. Your government is supposed to provide you with provisions. Your government is supposed to provide you with ways in which you can feed yourself. Your government is supposed to provide you with shelter. That's the whole point of them having access to govern. Do you understand what it means to give someone governance over you? That's what the government is. So when we look at like tax money and how many these corporations receive so much tax money, and then those who are receiving like food stamps or EBT get, oh, they're lazy, they're not working, and things like that. And it's like if you really look at the capitalist system, there is not one person who does not pay taxes on a daily basis. You go buy a cup of coffee, you just pay taxes. You go buy a piece of bubble gum, you just about pay taxes. You go buy some French fries, you just pay taxes. You go buy a pair of shoes, you just pay taxes. You go to visit your family in another town, you gotta go through a toll, you just pay taxes. You put gas in your car, you pay taxes. You bought a bike, you pay taxes. You pay taxes on a daily basis, so everybody has a say so on how we should be in this society. And for those of you who wants to be dog eat dog, why won't you detach from the people who don't want that? Because you need it for your ego. Toxic American culture, which goes back into the foundation of the Constitution. The people who were in control of human bodies got so far into their lower self of it in the unspeakable way that for the status, the entitlement, and the access to a material gain and the ability to abuse another human being's body without repercussions. That's what it really. That's fuck the money. That's what it was about. You gotta understand the sickness and how far it go. Money is just access for you. They got so far deep into it that they tried to declare another human body some bullshit, 3/5 of a person. That doesn't even, that's not even, you get what I'm saying? All this shit is made up. Culture, cult like. What are you making your life around? Cult. What cultish thing are you doing in your life? Are you facing it? That's the whole point of this conversation. It's gonna jump in different places. I'm trying to have a continuous flow, but the way this world is set up, the way this country is set up, it is hard to be in a continuous flow because there's so many points we need to hit, and a lot of people not doing the footwork for it. If you watch fucking Color Purple, I'm sorry, you are opening yourself up for sickness. I'm not sorry. If you get enjoyment out of watching the origin story of a young girl, baby child, getting molested and raped, and then turn around and say kill rapists and molesters, you are a direct fucking problem with our society. Just because it is something that was in your childhood that you're fond of, understand that you were getting programmed for that in that moment. Welcome to deprogramming. You ain't gotta love me, but you will respect me. And for those of you who see me, you understand what I'm saying, get it. Thank you. We all gonna get it at some point, but we gotta get rid of this shit. Not good for us. It's not good for us. I love life. And death is beautiful too. We just gotta get balanced around this. Okay? It's time to get balanced. So as I close out, I hope you challenge yourself to see the cult like behavior that is in your existence now and and some things that may be beneficial for you because I am very cultish when it comes to my pro blackness because I have to be because I live in a American society, but I'm getting tired of it because I have many family members and friends who who are speak as if they're I know they're pro black and are afraid to walk in it. They have accepted the cult like behavior of the abuse to our bodies and who we are. And it's going to everybody come around, they need to come around. And I'm going to say the way I know what the fuck I'm saying. So I know that this is the way in which we get move towards peace. Um, and I'm also learning that if you're comfortable in the spaces of toxic cultural norms, then it's probably my responsibility as a human being to detach. But damn, I'm tired of that too, y'all. As Black Americans, our norm of being displaced from our families and our communities because we need to be on one accord in this healing journey. It's like, well, it ain't gonna happen for 50 years. Baby, we ain't got 50 years. Comfortable enough thinking we got 50 years. You are sadly mistaken. It has to happen now. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Ain't no 50 years from now. It's starting now. Have to do it now. We ain't got no more time. So with that said, um, have a wonderful day. Ashe. Make sure that you meditate. You do some yoga. You go work out. Put at least one life food, three life foods in your diet today. When I say live, I mean something that literally came from the earth. Berries, grapes, cherries, lettuce. Go to your nearest farmer's market. Talk to someone who you normally wouldn't talk to, who you had so much hatred to. Say, hey, you gotta have a whole conversation with them. Say, hey, face those fears. Talk to somebody who miss dearly without no toxicity. Say, hey, just check. Hug somebody. Hug a tree. And when you hug that tree, okay, show me some grass. I'm gonna detach now because I can talk. Yeah. All right. Peace out.